I know you've seen these Con Bravo pickups anyways, but hey, I'll briefly talk about them. Looney Tunes Space Race for the Dreamcast. As I mentioned before, and in the Watch Us Play I did of this game, this is a great game. I feel that the racing action is really fun and solid. The game plays very well and was quite honestly a pretty damn good surprise, and also good time when I played this. Don't know much else to say about it, but yeah, Looney Tunes Space Race, it's great stuff. Flipnic Ultimate Pinball on the PS2. Again, we also did a Watch Us Play this. And it's a damn good pinball game. I love, just the atmospheres, the the styles of the levels and stuff. Just it's such a likable, well-made, enjoyable pinball game. Granted, I do think it could use a few more tables, but hey, I'm not complaining because I had a damn fun time with this, and I really like pinball, and this is a great addition. Here we have Dual Heroes for the N64, and yeah, this game is fucking awful, just awful. Just controls are so bad. The hit detection is also pretty bad. The fighting mechanics are just awful. Just everything about this just feels so wrong, and nothing about it feels fluent or just fun to play. I mean, even if you can get used to this game, just know this is fucking the pits. This is the worst. This has got to be the worst fighting game on the N64. I mean, I can think of some other fighting games. There's of course the famous Super Smash Bros. There's Killer Instinct Gold, Fighter's Destiny, Xena Warrior Princess, War Gods. What else was there? Oh yeah, there was also Fighter Destiny 2, Flying Dragon and stuff. And there was also a Transformers game on the N64, and this is the fucking worst one. I have a hard time explaining just this game, how awful it is. I mean, hell, it even actually struggled to get a release here in North America. It came out in 1997 in Japan, and came out, I believe, in 1998, here in North America. And yeah, they didn't change much in that 1 year lifespan, other than it was a pain in the ass for them to get this game out. And yeah, it sucks ass. Just probably one of the worst games I've ever played, to be honest. Whoa. Anyways, on a more positive note, we have Jurassic Park Rampage Edition. Now, this game is great stuff. It's just, so much. The levels can be kind of annoying as Grant, but nowhere near as annoying as they were in the first Jurassic Park game on Genesis. And this is, I just think, a better game. I just think the level design is better. Just plays just a little better. Just everything about it just feels better than the first game, and I even really like the first game. So yeah, this is definitely a nice little, maybe you could say it's a hidden gem on the Sega Genesis. I don't know, but yeah, real cool stuff. Check out the Watch Us Play on it too. Anyways, now on to the last Con Bravo pickup. Or not the last, actually, there's more, but I might as well just get into some Game Boy stuff. But here we have Wario Blast featuring Bomberman on the original Game Boy. It's essentially a Bomberman game, except it's a Wario skin. I believe when it was released in Japan, it was just called Bomberman GB. And this is essentially Bomberman GB, except with, Wario in it. But later, in North America, they released a game called Bomberman GB, but that was actually the second Game Boy Bomberman game. So yeah, Wario Blast, the game itself, it's perfectly fine. There's really, nothing wrong with it, I can say, just other than being basic. And there's honestly better Bomberman games out there, but the game itself, I don't really see any problems with it, in all honesty. It's a nice, fun little, obscure, game. And we have Penguin Wars. This was given to me for free. I mean, I remember, it's kind of an interesting story. I was hanging out with some friends of mine, and they were just randomly asking me various questions on games, hey, when did the PSP come out? When did the DS come out? When did the GameCube come out? When did the fucking NES come out? Whatever. They were just asking me stuff, and then randomly one of them's when did the Penguin Wars game for the Game Boy come out? And I'm well, I don't know. And then he, out of random, just brought it out and was here, do you want this? And I'm yeah. And I've played it, and yeah, I don't understand it all that much, but this cover art's pretty cool, kind of interesting, I guess. But meh, I don't know much to say about the game. Nothing too spectacular, I guess. I really don't have much of an opinion on it, and yet I've played it I played it a couple times too. You know, it's not like I just played it once and then put it down. It just, wow. Oh, but the last Con Bravo pickup is the SpongeBob SquarePants movie for the Game Boy Advance. As you may know, I did mention in the Con Bravo video that this was the first video game I ever owned back in December of 2004. So, but you know, since then I lost my original copy, and while I would have got the, you know, well, I would have gotten back, especially considering, you know, it's not an expensive game because it's a licensed game. Even in the box, you know, it doesn't cost a whole lot. But hey, when I saw it at Con Bravo for $5, I'm like, there's no way in hell I can say no. So I went ahead and I bought it. It's great to have. But I honestly have more memories with the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game on the GameCube, because that game was freaking great. I loved that game. This game was not as memorable, and I played it, and you know, this Drive the Paddy Wagon stage is not too good, but I got a kick out of it for sure. Just, you know, again, I just, you know, hey, I'd play it more, but again, it's mainly for like nostalgia, because, you know, again, it's just a licensed game. Even though I do like SpongeBob SquarePants quite a bit, you know, not much going on here, but still great to have. And the next game I got here is interesting. I hit it for a second, but it's a Game Boy Color game, a Japan only one. It did not see a North American release, but this is a Donkey Kong GB, Dinky Kong and Dixie Kong. Now, looking at the cover art, you may think, hey, is this Donkey Kong Country 3? And well, you're sort of right, but what this is it's an interesting story, because we all know Donkey Kong Country, you know, the first 3 games, you know, got released on the Super Nintendo. And then there was the Donkey Kong Land games, which were different games. They were not just, you know, like watered down Super Nintendo games, you know, they were different from their Super Nintendo counterparts. Then there was, you know, Donkey Kong Country, which got a remake on the Game Boy Color. The second game did not get a remake on the Game Boy Color. And then but the whole trilogy got, you know, like ported to the Game Boy Advance. Now, the Game Boy Color did not get the second game in any way, shape, or form. However, it did get Donkey Kong Land 3. And yes, this is essentially Donkey Kong Land 3, which again is different from, you know, Donkey Kong Country 3 on the Super Nintendo. But yeah, it's essentially Donkey Kong Land 3, except in color. This was never released outside of Japan, nowhere else, not even digitally. And yeah, because the thing is, Donkey Kong Land 3 was a Game Boy game. Now, Japan never got, you know, Donkey Kong Land 3 on the Game Boy. You know, they did get it in this form, but of course, you know, it's on the Game Boy Color. And since I've been hearing that Donkey Kong Land 3, you know, is the best out of the trilogy, at least the, you know, the Land games. So, and considering that I got, you know, this color, now I can get to play it in color, you know, that's definitely a bonus. And I played it, and this game is definitely a very nice surprise. I actually really, really liked it, you know. It's kind of easy, but I don't know, this is, you know, definitely like a great little game, to be honest. Really took me by surprise, considering I have pretty much zero experience with the Donkey Kong Land games, but hey, it's still great to have something, you know, obscure like this. Alright, there's going to be one more episode, but in the meantime, let's talk about the Atari 2600 games I got here. Here we have Grand Prix. Apparently, David Crane made this. Not in the best shape, but hey, it's essentially, you know, you're just racing to the end, avoiding these, like, other cars, which is actually harder than it looks. But, you know, hey, I pretty much completed it, because it's not like a high-score game, I don't think. You just, you know, race to the end, and I did just that, so I, you know, completed this game. So I guess it's one of the few Atari 2600 games you can actually, you know, like, complete or beat in some sort of form. I could be wrong. But if I can't say one really nice thing about it, other than, you know, hey, the game is actually pretty good, is that this has, like, some of the absolute best graphics I've seen on the Atari 2600. And I say that because the cars have, you know, little more detail. They have like, you can't really tell by, well, I guess you can, but you know, if you look up gameplay, you'll see they have like little lights. They have all kinds of like small little colors, or not little lights, little stripes, I should say. The stripes sometimes will have colors. The sprites don't look overly blocky. Even like the little like bushes here actually look really nice. They don't just look like, you know, 4 like squares mashed together. Just like, holy fuck, this game looks awesome for Atari 2600 standards. I don't know why I'm praising the graphics so much, but hey, that's one thing that really stood out to me about Grand Prix. I also got Freeway, which I remember when I first heard about this game, I thought it was just a Frogger clone, you know, just cashing in on the Frogger craze, but apparently, well, yes, the idea is similar to Frogger, how you're supposed to, you know, cross the road and get to the end. The thing is, you can only move in a straight line. You can't move, you know, side to side like you can in Frogger. And it's a little more straightforward than Frogger, because it's essentially just, you know, dodge cars. You don't have to go on, like, turtles that go up and down in the water and, like, logs. So, yeah, I kind of like Frogger more, but this was actually a really nice distraction. And, you know, hey, it's a nice little fun, simple game. You know, these kind of games kind of, you know, characterize the 2600. Sort of, I don't know. Then we have bowling. It's bowling. I mainly got this because I remember in AVGN, he didn't talk about this in his Atari Sports review, but in his he recently uploaded like an outtakes of the Atari Sports, and one of them was bowling. And I figured, well, this looks intriguing to say the least, and I don't really own any bowling games. So yeah, I got it, and well, it's bowling. You know, you just move a character up and down, hit one button, you watch a ball go. I'm not sure why on this, you know, like the bowling alley is like on a horizontal plane. I would have assumed it would have been on vertical to be more realistic. But hey, whatever. It's still a, you know, a forgivable effort, I guess. You know, nothing too horribly wrong with it. And yes, I have gotten a strike on this before. So yeah, bowling. Not much else I can say, really. And the last game we got here is Sword Quest Earthworld. Now, as you may know, you know, depending on your gaming knowledge, but yes, there was a competition that Atari had back in 1982 with these Sword Quest games. You know, them being Sword Quest Earthworld, the first one, Sword Quest Fireworld, Sword Quest Waterworld, and the never, you know, made Sword Quest Airworld. Now, Earthworld is probably actually the worst one in the series, to be honest. But the thing is, Earthworld and Fireworld are common, you know, they don't cost much at all. Unless you have it boxed, because the thing is, this game did come with, like, you know, a comic book and stuff, and I think it came with a t-shirt. I could be wrong. But the thing is about this, you know, is that the comic book and, you know, like the manuals and stuff just gave all kinds of hints to find clues in this game, because that's what you essentially do, just going from room to room, occasionally doing an action scene and finding clues. And then you would, you know, the clues would be used to, like, on comic book panels, and then the comic book panels would, like, spell out a word or whatever certain criteria that, you know, Atari had you do. And, you know, to be honest, the Sword Quest games, they're not really good games, actually. I mean, Fireworld and Waterworld are definitely better games, but it's hard to say if any of them are truly that good, because they just feel like more like electronic clue books than games that you play and win. And I understand that's kind of a bit harsh to belittle these games of that, considering, you know, the time that they were released and stuff. But obviously today, there's really no reason to play them. I just got this because I was that curious, and it is a very interesting thing to have. But, you know, the Sword Quest games, hell, you know, the Atari 2600 game Adventure really holds up more than this game does. It's just, you know, But I will most likely get Fireworld, not Waterworld, because Waterworld, you know, is extremely rare. One of the absolute hardest to find games for the system. But hey, we're not done with this. Be right back.